All right, folks, I'm going to play a little bit of a video of what it is I'm talking about while I share this with folks. Follow me at Just the Right Angle for more updates. I'll play this and then describe how it talks about in the story that I'm going to be that's mentioned in the description. So you kind of get the message of this video. The important thing is this is from 2020. This is the Islamic Center of Little Rock, and they have created their little community within the city of Little Rock to indoctrinate and push forward a political belief system that has led to the downfall of every country that has ever accepted it. And actually, the nation of Japan just recently had elections where they voted in people to reject this lifestyle because everyone knows that when you allow Islam to enter into a country, the country falls apart. And so, fast forward to that video was in 2020, and here is a description of what just happened here. This is now under investigation. Investigations are demanded for the Arkansas approved Islamic community. City approved Sharia enclave called New Africa rising in Little Rock. They are building a self contained Islamic residential colony in John Barrow Road. Now, some of this was approved in 2020, so I don't know how much of it was approved today. But the bottom line is the same Muslim communities that have destroyed Western Europe and really have destroyed every community that's ever accepted them is now being built in Little Rock, Arkansas. Give me just a moment here. You can read a little bit of what's happened. They're going to have mosque, a bunch of prayer halls, education center, community garden, all that. But people who want to live here have to sign the binding Islamic Bill of Assurance. So you have to obey Sharia law. I assume they're going to have some kind of their own police force of some kind. Well, one neighbor who warned the planning commission about this, that it was an interfere in residents' personal lives, but the planning commission went ahead and approved it. Oddly enough, as of April 2026, still only 5 homes have been built after 15 years of when this was approved. But ICH is running an active masjid fundraising drive right now for the new prayer halls. This is one of the things that Muslims do is they'll devote everything to their faith, but they will ignore the needs of people. And so as I'm doing this live stream, I'm talking about what this basically Sharia community within the city of Little Rock, within the state of Arkansas, is going to be. And apparently their plan is to probably expand this community to, well, as they say, swallow up churches and build a mega mosque. And if you know anything of what's happened, especially in Western Europe, you know this is what the disaster this has been. There was a law that was pushed in Little Rock. It was pushed by Brant Smith, state senator, a few sessions ago that banned Sharia law in the state of Arkansas. And let me see. Discard. It was HB 101084. And it was passed pretty handedly by the Republican legislature. Oddly enough, the Asa Hutchinson, the governor at the time, did not sign the law. But it still went into law. Yeah, I don't have a pop filter. Sorry, Princess Leia. I guess I could speak a little bit further back from the but anyway, it was once it has been passed, but so far I haven't shown where it's been enforced, and that may be what's going to happen now. I titled this, this video, "Will Sarah Huckabee Sanders fight against the Sharia law?" And her friends, will they make the effort to spend close to $1 million to fight against this the same way they fought to keep Brian Norris from becoming Secretary of State? Plays. It's a good cartoon. Hold on just a second. All right, and let me see here. I had it before. The law that was put up regarding Sharia law. But folks, again, most Americans vehemently know that Sharia law doesn't work wherever it's tried. This is the website that kind of talks about the history of how Muslims operate, how they deceive. There's a picture of the Ayatollah who fortunately now has been removed from the earth. But Muslim scholars do have a form of deceit known as taqiyya, where they can lie to deceive people. And this website called religionofpeace.com goes through the many details. I'm not going to read them all, from the Quran and from the Hadith and Sirah, about how they can trick people into pretending that they are peaceful. But even this talks about the history of when Muhammad, their supposed holy prophet, signed treaties after treaty and then violated those treaties to massacre people. And missionaries of Islam would often do this. And talks about the 9/11 hijackers. They practiced deception by going to the bars and drinking alcohol. During Flight 93, the hijackers claim that everyone will be safe as long as their demands are met. Here's the Islamic Society of North America insists that it has not now ever been involved with the Muslim Brotherhood or support any convert, illegal terrorist activity organization. In fact, it was created by the Muslim Brotherhood. So we don't know who's actually funding this giant mosque in Little Rock. I'll post a link to it on here, and you can see the links to some of this on the comment section where I talk about this as well. And then here's another great website called christianactivities.com, and talks about, again, how Muslims have taken over. Oftentimes they did through military conquest. They would raise armies and conquer, but when they weren't able to do that, Muslims often will do this practice of immigrating, with an E, to countries, pretending to be refugees, and then slowly take over that way. Demographic shifts, Muslim communities, calling anybody who doesn't like it as Islamophobic. And then pretty soon you have gangs taking over the whole country. Yeah, and anybody who doesn't like it is called racist, or is like you said, Princess Leia, Islamophobic. But again, will Sarah Huckabee Sanders fight against this as much as she did when she fought against keeping conservatives from getting power? Those who don't remember, we had a March primary where they spent Sarah Huckabee Sanders, Chris Caldwell, and the consultant class spent close to about $1 million trying to overtake the Arkansas legislators to support the big giant prison in Franklin County pet project, which voters rejected for the most part, and then spent close to another $1 million to keep Brian Norris from becoming Secretary of State, which was an election that was very close. There is actually some recounts, but it looks like that Kim Hammer will be in that position. There's a few counties where some irregularities were done regarding voting. So they're doing a count right now. But one of the disturbing things, and one of the reasons why we really shouldn't feel confident in our current governor, is only a few months ago, Sarah Huckabee Sanders celebrated a religious festival known as the Diwali event, which was a Hindu festival at the governor's mansion. This was in, let's say, November 4th of 2025. And again, the separation of church and state, Christian-hating crowd didn't say anything about it, but a lot of Christians were rightfully disturbed about why a Hindu religious ceremony would be celebrated at the governor's mansion. And so one of the things we're seeing from our political leaders is this no real zeal to protect the American values, the Christian conservative values on which this nation was founded. So anyway, I just wanted to give an update. That's an investigation that's going on. I'll try to give updates on what happens with this center. I assume this was approved in the city of Little Rock, so there might be video of that. But again, if you find out anything else that's going on regarding this issue, let me know. Just the right angle at yahoo.com. Of course, I'm on. Follow me on Twitter, X, Keep AR Legal. That's about it. Remember, when the righteous rule, the people rejoice.